Welcome back, my dears. Next step is the nose. So I have a kitty cat nose. It's pretty simple. I want to take a moment to talk about doggy noses. Essentially, for the noses, you're going to want to mix your colors first. So if you have a black nose on a cat or a dog, you're going to want to mix maybe 2 to 3 colors of gray. You want to make sure that each gray is different, that you can see the difference plainly between them on the plate. Otherwise, it's going to turn into one blob of gray. So the more contrast you can have, the better, although within reason, right? We don't want the lightest gray to be way, way, way too light and it just looks silly. So do your best. You can always lighten or lessen the contrast later on, but it's much harder to try and rediscover the shape of the nose. Because it's such a small canvas, it's going to be very small spots of each of the color, but typically it'll look like your medium color will be somewhere in the middle. So for Andrew, he's actually got kind of a pinkish red nose, and that is his medium color. His highlight color will be a medium gray. So if you were doing all black nose, your medium gray here, your lightest gray on top, your darkest gray, if you have 3 grays, somewhere on the bottom. The highlight will be underneath the nostrils for your doggy. For the kitty cat, they don't necessarily always have a highlight here. They typically have maybe a darker outline. There's also going to be a little line down the center most times with your dog or cat. That might be your medium color or your darker color or even black. So the only black that's going to end up on the nose is the nostrils. Everything else will be shades of gray. If you have a pinky brown nose, you'll be mixing brown and pink to get your different shades, your 3 shades, maybe 2 shades. And then you might use a black-brown for your nostrils instead of black. It really just depends on your photo. So the trick is to look at the photos, see what's there, and do your best. So because Andrew's got a pink nose with a little bit of, I would say, we're going to make it like a brown-black for the medium, and I'm going to use black in the nostril. A little bit of red ochre, a little bit of pink, a red might work okay with some brown. And again, you can always lift the brush up to the reference photo and check out and see if it's too light or if it's getting somewhere near the color. And I think that's good enough for me. So I've got that color mixed. You should be mixing your 3 to 2 different shades of your nose color. I'm going to rinse. And when you're ready, we'll start with the black. So roll the brush in my black. Get that tiny tip. And I'm just going for the nostrils. Barely touching that canvas. And you know what? I think I'll do the little line down the middle. There we go. Next we'll move on to, I like to start with the medium color, which will typically be most of your nose. So for Andrew, coming around the nostrils, filling in the middle of his nose. You can always exaggerate and simplify. You probably know what the shape of a dog or a cat nose is. All right, so went ahead and painted most of the nose in with this color, leaving just a little bit on the outside for those highlights. And now you might notice I didn't outline each color for you just because it's such a small space that it would be a confusing jumble of lines. So just look at the painting, see what's there, simplify. If there are nice outlines for you and the nose was big enough for that, awesome. So I'm moving on to my dark color. And I'm just going to outline across the bottom, fill some of this in, darker down here. It's not as dark as I thought. Make it just a little darker. There we go. Across the top. And it appears to be kind of down the sides of the nose. So I'm going to go all the way around. Cool. So if you need to soften and blend the colors together, you can rinse off your brush, maybe start with your medium color, and just kind of go over the line in between the two. Okay. If you need to touch up the nostrils or the highlight or anything like that, just take a moment, look at the nose, see if anything is looking a little strange. I'm thinking the nostrils could be just a little bit bigger. And I want to bring back that line in the middle here. Okay, and with that, we are finished with the nose. If you had a dog, the last thing you might do is consider a tiny little shiny highlight in the nose somewhere. Kitty cats don't typically have super wet noses, so that you may not see one on a cat if you have a cat, but if you have a dog, you might see a shiny on the nose somewhere. So feel free to add that in with just a little dot of white somewhere. Okay, and we are ready for the next step, which is the mouth.